AOP. Hope you remember, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So I just want to, because we got a bit break on this between. So just want to give you an overview. I mean, not like kind of just I'll go over the high level. Okay. So what is an AOP? AOP stands for aspect oriented programming. It really solves the cross cutting concerns. So any thing which you are repeatedly doing in the across the your application development would be recommended to choose the option of the AOP rather than doing the duplicated code in across the application. So which is going to be simplified using AOP. So AOP will automatically simplifies all our jobs by configuring as an aspects, right? It applies the across all the applications modules. Okay. And then so we have seen about the AOP definitions, like very important definitions like aspects, join point, advice, and then point cut. So these are all the four important uh, uh, keywords or the key definitions which is really important for us to develop the AOP applications. If you want to implement the AOP configuration application, if you want to set up, and these four keywords are really important. That is aspects, join point, advice, and then point cut. The internally AOP is going to be used for to run your aspect oriented programming. So internally it uses the concept of introduction, target object, and AOP proxy, as well as AOP viewing. So these are all the different concept internally uses the AOP for to run this, right? Then so we have discussed about the examples of advices, like how the advices has been applied, what is where the giant point is looks like, and how you can apply even multiple aspects. Like one is the logger aspect I want to apply, second one is transaction manager. Both can be a different aspect, but still you can apply on a single method. So which means that so multiple aspects can be defined and then it can applied even in a single method. Okay, so that's always possible. So and advices again has been given different classification, different categories of the advices, right? And both the loggers and transaction managers are called as aspects, and you can also call as advisors. Okay, and advisor is going to be give you the advice for the methods, right? And what advices, the advisors classifications has been given. So the before advice, the after returning advice, and we have around advice, and then we have rows advice. We also have another advice called after advice. So basically we have the 5 advices so that are available in the AOP, right? So what is AOP weaving? So we have seen the benefit of this. So the AOP weaving will be done at the during the compilation itself. Okay, if the AOP has been configured, it will set up a proxy around your actual target class. So it will set up a layer that is called a proxy. Whenever the caller is trying to call your target class, it will not directly call the class, it will goes to via a proxy. So proxy will call, and from the proxy the call will actually goes to your original target method or class will be called. So that's the how AOP weaving will be done, right? So hope you all remembered. Okay, so we will discuss now with that. So and we started doing of a small example, right? So the example of cave owner and customer. So we have like customer, and then so we have a cave owner, and so when the customer point of view, customer is really don't need, he is not really interested to enter his login. Okay, he will not really interested even in his logout time detail center, and even is not really worry about for generating a bill. So as a cave owner, he should be the responsible of doing everything. Okay, so then you should not bind all this information in the customer, right? So without knowing of the customer, and you have to be capture all, I mean knowing means, so knowingly or unknowingly means we don't want to disturb the customer browsing method. Okay, if you really want to do this, what we have to do actually, we need to create an object of cave owner class here. Okay, once if you creates the key owner class object, and then once the browse method is started, you need to call the login method, so then only the login will be captured. Once this browsing is completed, then you have to call the logout method. Okay, and then after that, once if he's returning the results, after return the result, then you need to generate a bill. So which means that so you have to write this much of code for every customer, so that are coming into the coming as a customer for every customer method. So you have to write all this different activities method you have to call. And so if it is only one class, that is fair enough. But how about in across the application if I want to apply? Maybe 100 classes I have. So do you call like 100 places like this? So basically that is a challenging work, right? So which is going to simplify by the AOP. I'll try to show you with this example without any much efforts, which is going to be called automatically by the aspects with the help of AOP proxies. So now let us do as an example. So we are implementing example, we are trying it. So let us try. First, okay, I showed you we have a customer being, okay, so we have AOP clients, right? And so then I was trying to apply. Let me make a changes in my aspect class. So in this case, my aspect is so key owner is my aspect, okay. So I'll try to, I have explained you what configuration is required, right? Let me try to, okay, remove all these things, and then I'll make it work with only one. I'll remove for now all because I don't want you to confuse. So we'll come one by one. So this is a very simple class of your AOP. This is a very simple class of your AOP. So if you want to apply for AOP, suppose I have only one method in my customer bin. Let us assume that browse employee is the only one method which is available. So in the customer, we don't have anybody else. Only the browse is the method, is the only one method, so which is there here. And I want to, okay, so I want to, whenever if I run this browse started internet using, and he will, okay, you uses the internet in 15 seconds. Maybe I'm just sleeping for a 15 seconds. That's it. Okay. So and so as a cave owner, what he has to do, and he has to execute before he's started using of internet. I need to capture his login time. So when he's entered into the cave, right? So simply, if you want to really want to only see this, so simply what you can do, the execution of this method, I want to proxy it, okay, I want to hijack this method, okay, can be applied in the advice. The advice will look up, okay, with this advice will look up with this expression, okay, when this method is execution is happening. So okay, whenever this method is going to be executing, then what I want to apply, I want to apply this login. I want to apply this login. That is the actual meaning of the advice. And whenever if you want to treat a class as aspect class, so simply you need to annotate it with a annotation called @aspects. Okay, and then the aspect is not a Spring component which is given by external framework or external, the libraries has given an aspect, but okay, these objects are not going to be managing by Spring container. Spring container, if you want to manage, and then if you want to okay, handles object, and you want to give the controls to Spring framework, and you need to consider this class as a bean class. So if you want to be okay, then you have to configure this is an explicitly in the Spring configuration file. Instead, in the annotation approach, you can simply annotate it with @component. So then this is become a bean class. So now this class is under Spring controller. Spring container is going to be manages this. So this class is even eligible to access any of the Spring features now. So simply, so I've written a login method. So this login, anybody has any questions?
Yes, Srini, actually, I have one question.
Yes. Yes, please.
This join point, you are writing this method browse employee right now.
Mhm.
Let's say I want to do this on the execution of some other method as well. So is it possible?
Okay, I lost your question.
Yeah, and other thing is like we are modifying this cafe owner again and again. So means instead of modifying it, annotation is fine. Means but this join point and all this thing is mandatory to write
No,
because
we are not
let's say
modifying any, right?
we have some external APIs. So
Mm-hmm.
there, if we are not able to write, so can we implement AOP there?
External API means, so what do you mean that?
Let's say other people has already developed the APIs, and we want to know implement AOP on that. We want to do some tasks before the execution of those methods,
Absolutely,
and
you can do it.
yeah, but
You can.
we have to mention this join point and before at the before and all these things, right? So we
Uh,
are
join
doing the
point is
method.
join point is the common. Let me answer this your first question. So the join
Yeah,
point, whenever if you want to really find out targeted method signature and with the arguments of what that method is really carrying out, for to okay retrieve any of that class or method or signature related information, if you want to really want to pull out from that method or for that caller, so then you can use the join point. So this is the join points which you are going to be using. In this example, I have only one method in the customer bean as browse method, browse employee. So I have been applied only for browse, and which can be also applied for to across your the external APIs also, even the internal classes also. Not only one customer bean, you will be seeing okay in across the application you can apply, not only one method. Okay.
but I need to modify the signature of that, right? Signature of those methods.
No, you don't need to make any changes. You don't
At
need
the
to
rate
make
annotation,
at the rate.
at the rate annotation and all
Where is at the rate annotation?
for cafe customer bean. Which one will you have wrote here, right? Cafe owner at the rate
Okay,
before.
this one are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah. Let's say
No.
some other
Yeah, go
not
ahead.
right.
Go ahead with the example.
Let's say other customers there. That is a home customer. I want to one customer class is there, home customer. So
Mhm.
there also I want to apply this
Okay.
same
Yep,
thing.
absolutely. You can apply without making any changes in the aspect. You can.
Do I need to mention at the rate before there also means for a
No,
particular method?
no,
What?
no, no.
Okay.
So that will automatically identifies with the respective expression matches. Okay, whatever the classes which you are writing, if that is going to be matching with your expression so that you are writing here, if that expression is matches, automatically it applies in both home bean home, okay, your home customer as well as the regular customer, it will automatically applies. You don't need to make any changes here, and your expression should be in a generalized expression. It should be applied to the methods of which you want to really apply this AOP, so which you will be really seeing. If you wait in another couple of minutes, you will actually seeing that as well.
Sure, sure. So
Any
it
other?
will be not for a single package. It will be across all the packages.
Exactly, not even across the packages, it will across the application, even across the all the external APIs. Wherever you want, it can be applied. For just to give an example, I'm only applying for one method, but this can be across the application, across the all the methods as well.
Okay. And one more doubt was coming like let's say if you want to do this achieve this right so we can do it by interface also, right? We can write that login logout method and we can implement those method in each and every class. It's
Yes.
also lightweight thing. Why means it's this thing is required.
Okay. The main main point here is, so what you need to do, suppose now I have a customer bean, and okay, in the customer bean, if I want to, okay, apply this, so what I have to do, and I have to initialize the object of kphoner, because the method is sitting here, right? And then I have to initialize the object here, then I have to call a login method. Am I right? Suppose
Mm-hmm.
next I have a employee bean, so the employee bean also wants the same thing, so which I want to apply. In the employee bean also I want to initialize the objects, then I have to call a method explicitly. So
Okay.
likewise, if I have 100 beans in my class, so do I have to do the same thing for 100
Yes.
beans, I have to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Suppose in the future, if I want to make any change, or I don't want to that method, I want something else, so all my 100 beans are going to be affected, have to refactor in
Correct.
all the 100 beans.
Right. Right. Yes.
But if you, okay, if you make these things in a centralized, this class is least bother about what is being applied. This class is specially only concentrating on their business logic, and it least bother about the cross-cutting solutions, the cross-cutting related implementation. This class, this method is least bother about it, because this is being now under control of AOP. Make sense what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Okay. All right. So now let us try, okay, with this example. So how this is going to look like. So I have an aspect class, I have a component, and I'm applying a advice called before advice, and with this execution expression is matches with this name, and I want to apply this. So if I go to my customer bean, and so here is my method. So whenever before execution of this method, without of this class knowledge, there is a one more method is going to be execute before this method calls. Okay, and here is my client. Client is going to call the customer bean of browse method. Okay, let us call the method. I'll call that method. Okay, very simple code. I'm not doing a much logic, so regular code. Let me run this class, run as Java application. So very important thing, if you're not following, so please open and ask your questions. Okay, please be open in case if you feel that so there is any questions. So here actually I called only browse method, but how that is possible for to call a method as login. If you see in across the code, I have not really initialized anywhere kphoner object. I have not really called anywhere get login. Okay, even if you go to customer bean, I have not did anything. Even if I go to AOP client, I have not did call anything, but it is automatically called with the expression is matched, and it is able to using reflection API. The join point is able to pull out the complete signature of the method along with the arguments which is carrying over by this method. In this case, we are not really passing any arguments, so that's why it's an empty array. If it is really carrying any arguments, even you can also see that. And so without disturbing of your business method called browse method, and it is able to capture the login time of the customer has been captured. So that's the beauty of your AOP. That's the beauty of the AOP, right? So now let us also try with other, okay, case. How about if I'm going to write, another method, okay, called student. There is a one more, okay, person name called student. If it is a student is running, and for the student I am giving a such different benefits or something else, you are doing a logic in this method. Okay, forget about that the business logic of this method. Let us assume so there is one more method called browse student, right? If the browse student also, because I want to capture his login details, If I want to apply for both of them, what you have to do? If I go ahead and run this, can this applies for both the methods? The answer for this is no. It will not apply because the expression so you have written, which is strictly follows for to only browse employee, not for any else, not any other method. If you see here now, the first employee started browsing and he is still browsing. Okay, and what happened? Okay, here I am not calling. Interesting. Here I am not calling browse student. I have to call browse student for to, okay, get it this right. So now let me call. Now I am calling customer bean dot browse, and then I am calling customer bean dot browse student. So both I am calling. Now let us try. Okay. The first customer is employee is being started browsing of internet. Is still started. So once it's done, then the student will be start up, and then student is going to be start browse the internet. So it will wait for 15 seconds. Now if you see 15 seconds of the employee is completed, now student is started browsing of his internet. But if you see the for student, the login details is not captured. For the student, login details are not captured. So does it means that I need to write a separate, okay, before class for to capture this, and okay, and if you want to write it for login, and what you have to do, and you have to write the whole code, and this method you have to write, right? So for one method you have written one advice, and for the second customer you have written the second advice. So get login one, and whenever this is going to be matching, and I want to print this, for this method is matched, I want to execute this. If this method is matched, I want to execute this. And if I run this code now, okay, now I'm expecting to apply the AOP for both the methods. Now I'm expecting to apply the AOP for browse employee as well as browse student. So make sense? It is applied for both the customers. It is applied for student, for employee as well, right? But without making any changes on your original bean class, original customer bean class, and we have written everything in the aspect class. Aspect is completely out of your business classes. But when you look at here, this is the worst way to write, right? Unnecessary, you are duplicating. So likewise, if you have 100 methods, so do you like to write for 100 methods? That's the bad way to write, right? So how do we simplify this? So in order to simplify, you don't need to write a duplication of the code. Only you can change your expression. The expression, if you can change, it should automatically handles the scenarios. So if you see in both the methods, so what is common? Browse is common. Okay, in this method, the partial matches is browse is common, but okay, browse employee, browse student. If any method is matching with the browse, I want to apply any method in across all the classes. So simply what you can do, simply instead of browse employee, write a star. After browse, anything can be, okay, written in the method. I want to apply this. Simply put a browse star. This is also another expression for to apply it. Instead of duplicately writing another method, irrespective of the class, irrespective of the package, any method is starting with this syntax, and method name is starting with the browse. I want to apply. Now let us try.
Is it regular expression, Srini?
It's a kind of, yes. It's a point-to-cut regular expression, so we will call it as.
Okay.
So now if you see here, okay, it is applying. Now it is calling the customer. It is applied or not? For browse employee, it is applied. Yes, it is applied. See here, without duplication of any code, and it is applied for both student as well as the employee. It is able to capture the login. So it is simplifying our job or not? So irrespective of the number of beans so that you have, and it applies. Okay, sounds good. How about now? So in the customer bean, so later part I have one more customer is added. There are the special employees. For we are giving a special discount for they're from some corporate or IT employees. For them we are giving a special discount, and but I should be knowing the customer name and all the customer details for to give that discount. So they are not a normal employee, so they are from kind of corporate employees. For them we are giving a special something like that. You can write a business. But if you see in this method, so this customer is going to capture, this customer is going to be captured the argument. So he has to pass the name of the customer. So whenever if you want to browse, and you need to provide your name, and then you will be allowed to browse the method. So then I will write another method called browse employee. I'm just passing a name, parameter name is Srinivas. In this case, if you see all this case, so there is no parameter, so that's what the arguments are coming empty array, right? So now I have browse employee student. So you have how many methods so you are calling? So one is browse employee by passing a employee name, and you have a browse employee without passing any name, and we have a browse student. And I want to apply AOP for all these methods. And now if I go to run as Java application, you see here, first Srinivas is started, and he is the employee, but if you see for him, the login details is not applied. Why it is not applied? Even though this student, this employee is also, the method name is the same, right? Same browse employee only. If the name is matching, then it has to apply. Then why it is not applied? The aspect is not applied for this because the signature of what you have written in the aspect is not matching. You are saying that it should be empty parameters, which is an empty parenthesis. But in case of in case of the employee, this is not an empty parenthesis. This guy is passing with the single parameter. He is passing one parameter. So for a customer who is passing a parameter, for him also if I want to apply, then what you have to do, you have to use a star. Means it doesn't matter how many so how many parameters so which is going to be passing, and I want to apply, then you can use a star, or you can use a dot. You can use a dot. So if you use the dot, so which means that, so this method is not only a so this is not a method, so sorry, this method is not carrying a signature, so this is also carrying a arguments in this particular method. So now let us try. So dot. Now I would expect to apply the AOP. If you see applied or not, if you see it is applied, and if you see arguments also in the argument list, see automatically how does this aspect class knows that what parameter is in passed? That is automatically hijacking everything of this bean class. Details is being hijacked automatically. So make sense what I'm saying? So
Srini, can you show your config file?
Which one?
Spring config file.
So yeah, I'll go back. See now, this has been applied for across all the methods, with params, without params, and for all the methods. So only one time I'm not calling anywhere. I just defined aspect, but how many number of methods I've written in my customer bin? The 3 methods has been written, and for all of them it is applied without writing any duplication of the code. Without writing any duplication of the code. If you think about AOP is not there, how many times I have to call? I make sure that I have to remember that I need to call this login method before I started my browsing. If something customer is not been or maybe developer is not called, so what will happen? It will not log in, right? So there is a chance mistake. So but here there is no question of missing anything. So this is how it is going to be, simplifies this. And one last thing, so yeah, I think let's go to his answer first question and then we'll come back. Yeah, Spring configuration file yeah.
Yeah, okay, Srini. Actually, I'm looking actually whether it's doing anything here.
Nothing, nothing. So just you need
Yeah,
to
nothing. Yeah, conversating.
write AOP colon
AOP
aspect.
aspect.
So you have to scan all the aspects advices, okay, and you need to make sure that you have to apply a proxies to respect your target classes. So this is all going to be done by this configuration. Okay,
Yeah, okay, sure.
that's perfect. So without disturbing of my customer bean by writing a unnecessary lines of the code, which I am able to achieve using aspect I'm able to achieve. So instead of dot dot, okay, I want to apply only method which is carrying with the arguments. I don't want to apply a method which does not carrying arguments. Okay, so whoever is the customers are coming with the names, only they are allowed to log in there, and remaining for who don't have like a students and employees, okay, we are not going to be charging them. So simply I don't want to capture their login details. Simply I'll put a star. The star means exactly at least one argument should be matched. Means so the the method parameter should be matched. If it is not matched any of the param, then it will not apply. Okay. Now if you see, it is applied for across all the methods: browse employee with the name, and then browse student. Now I would expect to apply only a method which is carrying with at least one argument. So that is your browse employee. See, it is applied. Okay, it is applied. Now the second employee is also started browsing. The first employee is completed, but second employee, it is not captured any login details. Okay, so the second employee is just started browsing of the internet, but is not really having, we are not captured. So third is student is actually started, but we are not really capturing any details. If you see here, Srinivas is started browsing of this. So this is argument. Okay, he is a normal employee, does not having any name, and student. If you see, for the normal employee, and then so the student, it does not apply any the aspects. Why? Because you have given in an expression saying that it should be exact match, at least a single argument is required. If a one argument is required, then it will allow to apply, otherwise it will not. So suppose whether if the argument is optional for me, whether if I want to apply or I don't want to be there, but still I want to execute, simply it will be dot dot is an expression. So if you give that, so which means that so it will apply it. Make sense? So that is about your before advice. And how about I
Srini,
want to
can you print just join point?
what is that?
Can you print just join point alone in the
Okay,
method system dot point?
that will give you as a just object file. I mean, just
Object.
it's hash code. It should print only hash code.
So what this join point will contain means what are the things we can get it from that?
So if you see that string of this method, so whatever is there, okay, that will be print, right, basically. So it contains the so many methods. You can look at whichever the method is required for you, whichever the details so that you want to get it, you can get it from this. It's basically a reflection API. So this is coming to know the which class is really calling, which method is calling, okay, all the details. So if you see a short time, short string, okay, get signature, get the source of the location where the file is located. You can also get the complete fully qualified path. So all other different methods so that are available here. Okay, get kind, get target class, and from there here you can call again the another methods on this, like likewise. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Actually, why I'm asking this thing, because what are the things we can perform with the help of this joint point?
So
Because
mostly, right?
specifically we are passing this joint point object here.
Mostly you need a signature with which method or which class is calling. The second thing you need to know, okay, so what arguments are coming. Usually that is what we will come to know about the method information. Other than this, nothing is required. Usually, right, for a method point of view. That is what, so
Yeah.
they have given the point of join points.
Okay.
Okay, so now going back to, suppose, okay, when someone is going to be logout, okay, so once the method is completed, I want to, okay, execute them. Okay, I want to, after completion of this, I want to capture their logout details also. Go to mute. Okay, I want to capture their logout details also. So simply what I want to do, I want to use the same expression, and I want to capture the logout of the customers. When? Not when they started, right? When they are completing their method, I want to apply it. So then there is an advice called after advice. Okay, and I want to capture their logout details, right? So I want to capture so their logout details, and everything else keep it as it is. Okay, so this customer is logged out. So logout of this customer has been done. So now just with this aspect is going to be applied now across all the methods matching with this criteria. Okay, with this expression is matches. So all those methods are going to be capturing both login as well as logout. My bad. Okay. Okay. Yes. So now let us try. Okay, so simply what I can do now, let me try to, without making any changes, I'm completely out of the customer bean which I'm doing all these things. Okay, this customer bean doesn't know that I'm been, okay, hijacking of all the that methods of all other details, because I'm not even disturbing of my original bean class. Now if you see, I'm trying here and then running. So the first customer is being started browsing of his internet, so login time is captured, and I should expect to even log out also should be captured for this customer. See, both login and log out, he was literally browsed, okay, is how many, okay, seconds he's browsed? 8, okay, 5401 and 8:54:16 means of 15 seconds he's browsed his internet. 15 seconds he's browsed his internet. The same thing if you see here for this customer also, which is the same thing. So he started 8:54:16 and he came out from 8:54:31. So which means that he is also started exactly in 15 seconds. So, and I'm able to calculate, right? I can generate a bill for him. So this is the beauty of AOP. So, and only one method, actual my business code is only one line, but the so much of things which I'm applying outside of that method, I am been capturing both, okay, and it's login and log out without making any changes in my functional bean. Does it make sense? Okay, suppose in the future, okay, I have a method is being changed instead of protected. Okay, I have, so this is going to be a maybe public method or something else, right? And what I have to do, I have to change in both the places. I have to make sure that I have to change in both the places. I have to change in before advice, then after. How about if I have likewise more other advices and more other different logic? Okay, this is a bit headache to organize, right? This is a bit a headache to organize. Instead of this, you can use the concept of point cut. You can use the concept of point cut. What you can do, you can define a method, maybe a public method, void. You want to apply for get all. Okay, I'm just writing some method name called get all, and for all the methods, okay, matching with the signature, and I want to apply the expression. How you can write? So instead of writing a separately, you can write a expression called point cut. So basically this will comes under a point cut expression. So under point cut, whatever the expressions of which you want to commonly execute, which you can write under this. And even you don't need to write here the duplication, you can avoid it using a point cut simply. But where is the expression this before has to look out? And in this point cut. So this method is the reference of the expression where is located, and that expression you have to define it. So whenever after advice, if you want to execute, you can make a changes in one place, it will be applies to across all your advices. You don't need to make a changes in individual of this. So that's called a point cut. So point cut is a common place where you can define all your expressions, and that can be applied to across your advices. That's the beauty of your
Srini, hello.
yeah.
Srini, what is the flow for this? I mean, first it will execute the at the rate point cut, right?
First it will check the point cut. Yes.
Okay.
If that point cut is in bad, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and then I mean the login time, right? Using that add before get all,
Yes.
I will execute the get all method, right?
Yes.
And automatically after 15 seconds, because we have I mean mentioned at 15,000 millisecond, right? So after 15 seconds, it will automatically disconnect it and I mean generate the bill for that, right? Using at
Yes.
after get all method.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's true.
And one more doubt, Srini. Like we are using annotation, right? So I mean there are many annotations, right? So I mean how we come to know which one to use where? I mean, is it kind of, I mean, keep on practicing, you will get the hands on for this?
You
Is
are
it like that?
correct. You are correct. It's only hands on. If you are keep on practicing, then you can remember. Then you will know the importance of that. Otherwise, so there is no way to buy hard, and there is no way to keep it as everything in one place.
Yeah, because annotations are changing, right? Like when I'm searching, this is different in, I mean, there are different annotations in MVC, different in AOP.
Yes,
So
that's the only thing we have to remember. So whether you have to be depending on the documents, maybe the documentation which is given by Spring Framework. Okay. Even for AOP related also they have given a documentation. So we have to look at the documentation when you are really implementing it. But you should be aware of the concept. I don't want to be you to stay on only with annotation, but I want you to remember the concept. If you remember the concept, getting the annotations applying is not a big deal. So that's
correct.
you can get it from a Google, and you can get it, and you can apply it. That's
Point.
yeah.
Srini, can you repeat this point cut means like when to use this at the point cut?
Yes.
Suggest.
Yeah, the point cut, okay, is a generalized pay. The word itself is pronouncing that it's a point cut. Means it's a turn of the place. It will decide whether it can apply it or not, whether it can apply it be or not. So there might be so many methods are executing internal of this. So does it mean that when I'm calling from the client, so when I'm calling customer dot browse employee, does it mean that only this method has been calling? No, it has been internally calling so many methods. I mean, so many methods means so API related methods, so many other things will be executed. If you debug generally, you will seeing unnecessary classes will be opened, unnecessary methods will be called, right? But it will not apply for those methods. It will only apply for special area where your point ticket expression is matched with this exactly the case, and only that location it has been matched. And with this point ticket expression, you can also directly write in the advices, or you can also define a separate expression. If you define a separate expression, the beauty of this is you don't need to apply in each and every advice. Likewise, if I have in 4 advices, I don't need to write this code in a duplicatedly for 4 times. And so in the future, if I want to change, I have to change in 4 places. Instead, if I define in one place of the expression, so it will be easy for to change in one place. It applies across all the advices.
If let's say method name is get this, then it will not apply for this get all methods, right?
Yes.
So only for get all method it will apply this common point cut.
Yes, wherever you have used the get all, and then it will apply.
Okay.
So what I understand, I mean, this point cut, it will, I mean, provide a range, right? From this point to this, I mean, from point to point.
Range means in terms of?
I mean, here we are, I mean, fetching the login and logout time, right? And we are using the sleep for 15,000 milliseconds. So, I mean, till 15 seconds, it is recording the session.
Which session? This method session you are?
Yeah.
No, it won't.
Come again, I mean, what you just explained for the point cut.
Okay. Okay, all right, so now let's move on. So that's how, okay, it is applies. Now let's see, now let us try. After applying that point ticket, I would expect the same behavior, because now I introduced the point ticket, and after running that also I would expect the same behavior, because I want to apply both. So login as well as logout advices I want to apply for these methods, okay, by introducing a common expression. Here, so it has been capturing both login and logouts. So it has been capturing for both login and logout for all the methods. So student, employee, employee with the name. So for all of them, it has been capturing login as well as logout. So done.
Yes.
Yes, it is done. So suppose I don't want to apply for all the methods. I don't want to apply for all the methods. I want to apply for methods, so only who is carrying with the signatures. For that only I want to apply this. I don't need to make a changes in both before advice as well as after. If I make in one place a change, it automatically applies the change in the rest of other advices also. So that's the best way to define your expressions instead of in directly advise. So it will be recommended to maintain in the point ticket place. In the point ticket place, you have to define your expressions. Okay. Yeah. So now I would expect to only apply a method which is carrying with the signature, but not any other method. See here, only for the first method it is applied. For rest it will not apply. Yeah. So go ahead. Any questions here?
Srini, actually you was telling, right, just like get all method is there, right? Is calling some other method in customer win, browse employee. Let's say inside browse employee, one more method is there, like get employees details.
Okay.
So it will means you was telling some concept before that it will not go inside an inside method, that it will go inside only browse employee, right?
Yes.
Means chain of methods are written inside and inside.
Yes.
So it will verify only top level methods. Hello?
Yes. Yes. If your expression is matched for that method only, it will apply.
It will go to the browse method only. It will let's say if I have wrote inside of some method let's say get employee also I have wrote at the rate means like something. It will not go inside it.
You mean to say here? Are you
Yeah,
talking?
inside this, let's say one more method is there inside, so it will not go and search inside that whether it's means something is written like browse employee or something.
Suppose here you have written a browse employee, right?
Yeah.
Right? You are
Yes.
saying that for this method and for this method, so both it will apply. Are you talking like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. It
I
means
think
internal calls it.
okay. So let us try. I am hoping that it should apply, because ultimately this is again going to be calling this method only, right? And for this method is been already your AOP been applied, and definitely for this when you are calling this one also it should apply, because this method is being already monitoring by AOP. It doesn't
Okay.
matter whether this method you are calling from directly from a client or from inside a method you are calling.
And any if we write any method which is not operated by AOP, then it will not go inside, right?
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. All
Absolutely.
right. Yeah. Okay, Srini.
Okay.
Because it's going to lose its performance if it's going inside like that.
No, it will never. Then that is the case. They don't define this and they don't roll out. Okay.
Right.
See now, so I am applying the AOP. Let's see. I don't think so. It is not applying. Looks like it is not applying. Oh, it is applying. No,
Yes.
no, it is not applied. It is not applied, right? If you observe, I think if you're
See
right,
then
you are right. Okay. So inside of okay, it is calling another method. It is not applying. Only when you are directly calling, then only it is applying. Okay. Inside the method, if you someone is calling another method, it is not applying. So here is the best. I'm expecting here one more login and logout. Okay, then
okay.
it has to call that, but it is not been done this. When you are directly calling the method, then only it is applying from the bean. Okay,
Okay.
not from inside of the method. So make sense?
Okay. Yeah, right. And one more thing, you have mentioned triple some two dots, right? And a star. So
Mm-hmm.
what is the difference? Dot actually I'm seeing first time.
So these are all expressions, right? Normal, regular expressions. Dot dot means compulsory. The at least one argument is expected. If it is a star, sorry, dot dot means okay, with arguments or without arguments. So if it is a star means at least one argument. That's the normal, regular expressions.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I think so. That's all I have for the day. Probably in the next session, so we will try to close out this concept. Okay. All right, so have a good day to all of you. So if you have any questions and anything, please try to practice and let me know in the next session. Have a good day to all of
Yes. Yeah.
you. Yeah,
Bye
bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.